Hi, I hope you are doing very good. So, welcome back to the series of tutorials on spin in quantum mechanics. So, in this video, we'll derive a general expression for the product of two Pauli matrices, which looks something like this. So, sigma x sigma y is iota sigma z and the cyclic permutations. And in my previous videos, we had developed the exact form of the Pauli matrices, the 2 by 2 matrices, sigma x sigma y sigma z, and these look like these. And also in the previous videos, we have already proved some of the facts regarding the Pauli matrices, so which we'll be using in this video. So I list some of the important facts useful in this video here. So one of the thing is that we had derived already how the Pauli matrices are defined, what is their relation to the spin matrices for an electron. So these S matrices here, these are the 2 by 2 spin matrices for an electron. So these are the spin matrices for an electron, and we had seen how these Pauli matrices are related to the spin matrices for an electron. So these are related by a factor of h bar by 2, and this vector equation, this actually includes three equations, three components x, y, and z. So for example, you can see that for the x component I can write Sx would be equal to h bar by 2 sigma x and so on. So these are three equations that are included in here. And the next thing is that we had already seen the commutator relations, the algebra obeyed by the spin matrices Sx, Sy, and Sz. So this is the commutator relation. Sx, Sy would be equal to iota h bar Sz, and there will be cyclic permutation of these. So Sy, Sz would be equal to iota h bar Sx, for example, and the other ones also follow. And the third thing that we are going to use is that in the last video we had already derived the anti-commutator relations that are obeyed by the Pauli matrices sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. So this is something that we call the Clifford algebra. So they obey an anti-commutator algebra which we call the Clifford algebra, and this can be written as this. So for example, if I'm interested in the commutator, these I and j here, they run over x, y, and z. There is no k here. So this I and j here, they run over x, y, and z for the Pauli matrices sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. And if I'm interested in say sigma x, sigma y, then that would be given by, because for I and j it would be now x and y, and these are unequal, so this Kronecker delta symbol, that will give you a 0. So the sigma x, sigma y anti-commutator, as we had already seen, it vanishes. So that is why we say that the sigma x and sigma y matrices, they anti-commute. Similarly, sigma y and sigma z, or sigma z and sigma x, they also anti-commute. So these are the things about the Pauli matrices, the properties or some facts about the Pauli matrices that we are going to use today. And there is one more fact about the commutators, one more general fact about the commutators in quantum mechanics that we are going to use today. So I will mention it. So the commutator of two operators C1A, C2B, where C1 and C2, these are complex numbers. These are not operators in quantum mechanics, these are complex numbers. And A and B are quantum mechanical operators. So the commutator of these two operators, these will be given by these complex numbers. You can just pull it out of the commutator. So you are left with C1, C2 multiplied by the commutator of A and B. So if there are any complex numbers, then you can just pull it out of the commutator. So this is another fact that we are going to use in this video. So now we'll start finding the form of the product of two Pauli matrices. For that, we'll begin with the commutator relations. So first of all, we'll find the commutator relations for Pauli matrices. So first of all, we'll find we have the anti-commutator relations for the Pauli matrices, as I showed you in the beginning, but now we want to know the commutator relations for the Pauli matrices. So we'll start with the commutator relations for the spin matrices. So as I had written in the beginning, We'll start with Sx, Sy. These are operators, spin matrices for an electron, and it obeys the commutator relation Sx, Sy is iota h bar Sz. So I'm starting with these because Pauli matrices are related to the spin matrices for an electron. So Sx, Sy is iota h bar Sz, and as I wrote in the beginning that Sx, S and sigmas, they are related by a factor of h bar by 2. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to substitute for sigma matrices here. So I can write here, instead of Sx, I can write h bar by 2 sigma x. Similarly for Sy, and Sz as well. So I have substituted for the sigma matrices, and now I can use the general property of the commutators in quantum mechanics. These h bar by 2 here, these are just some complex numbers. So these two factors I can just pull out of the commutator, and I will be left with 2 factors of h bar by 2, and I am left with the commutator of sigma x and sigma y, and that would give me iota h bar sigma z. So I'll get rid of some of the factors here, as you can see, and one of the h cross from here. So I get rid of these, and I'm left with half, a factor of half sigma x sigma y commutator, which equals iota sigma z. And now I can write it as sigma x sigma y commutator would be equal to twice iota sigma z. So these are the commutator relations that are obeyed by the Pauli matrices sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. And in a similar manner, because you know we started with these spin matrix commutation relations, and the cyclic permutation of these also obey, as I just mentioned in the beginning. So that is why whatever I have proved for sigma x and sigma y commutator giving sigma z, that this relation also holds for the cyclic permutations of x, y, and z indices. So this also holds for the cyclic permutations of x, y, and z. So in that manner, you can find out the commutation relations for any combinations of the sigma matrices, sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. So these are the commutation relations, and we are now almost done. So now we want to find out the product of the Pauli matrices, product of two Pauli matrices. So what we are going to do is we are going to expand this commutator relation. So in quantum mechanics, the commutator can be expanded as sigma x sigma y minus sigma y sigma x. That would be equal to twice iota sigma z. So here now we are going to use another property of the sigma matrices, the anti-commutator property here. As I just wrote here, that sigma x and sigma y operators, they anti-commute. Their anti-commutator vanishes. So now I am going to use that. So I know that sigma x sigma y anti-commutator is equal to 0. So now I can expand this anti-commutator. I am left with sigma x sigma y. In quantum mechanics, this is the definition of an anti-commutator with a plus sign equals 0. So it follows from here that sigma x sigma y would be equal to negative of sigma y sigma x. So this is also an important property, and this also holds for others as well, because these also hold for because sigma y and sigma z also anti-commute. So that is why sigma y sigma z would be equal to negative of sigma z sigma y. So if you interchange, it will pick up a negative sign. So this fact I can substitute it here. So sigma y sigma x would be equal to negative of sigma x sigma y. I can substitute this fact here, and then I'll be left with sigma x sigma y. I have negative of sigma y sigma x, so that gives me positive sigma x sigma y here. Interchanging gives a negative sign, and 2 iota sigma z. So now you can see on the left hand side I have 2 sigma x sigma y is equal to 2 iota sigma z. So in the end I am left with sigma x sigma y equals iota sigma z. So this is the form of the product of the Pauli matrices sigma x and sigma y that I showed you in the beginning here. And you can also see from here, if I interchange these two, I am left with, if I interchange, I'll get sigma y, sigma x, and when I interchange, I'll pick up a negative sign. So that would give me a negative of iota sigma z. So you can also find the interchanged product in this manner. And also because I started with Sx Sy commutator equals iota h bar Sz, and that holds for cyclic permutations as well. So these relations, whatever I am getting here, this also holds for the cyclic permutations for sigma x, sigma y and sigma z. So also for cyclic permutations of x, y and z. So for example, I can write it here. I also find that sigma y, sigma z product would be equal to iota sigma x, and sigma z, sigma x product would be equal to iota sigma y. And you can also interchange and get the negative ones as well. So this is how I can find the expression for the product of two Pauli matrices. So you can see that the product of two Pauli matrices will give you the third Pauli matrix with a factor of plus iota or minus iota as appropriate. And this is a very interesting property related to the Pauli matrices. Now one more thing is that all these product relations that we have for the Pauli matrices, we can combine these together in one single equation using something called the Levi-Civita symbol. So I can write that sigma I, sigma j would be equal to iota epsilon I j k sigma k. So this is an iota and this is an index I. So these are different. So sigma I, sigma j is this, where I, j and k, they can take values between x, y and z corresponding to the Pauli matrices sigma x, sigma y and sigma z. And you can check an epsilon ijk here. This is called the Levi-Civita symbol. So in case you are not familiar with the Levi-Civita symbol, I have made a very detailed tutorial discussing this Levi-Civita symbol or the totally antisymmetric symbol. So you can go and check these out, check the details out from that video. The link is in the description. But in any case, you can convince yourself that all these 6 relations that I have written here, they can be combined here. They can be written as, they are contained in this single expression using Levi-Civita symbol. So this is how we write the product of two Pauli matrices. So this is it for this video, the general expression for the product of two Pauli matrices. And in the next video, we'll look at another very important property of the Pauli matrices, which is that the Pauli matrices are traceless. And this we are going to look at in a we'll prove it in a mathematically rigorous way using the anti-commutator property of Pauli matrices, not by just looking at the form of the Pauli matrices. So that we'll do in the next video. Hope you like this video. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, you can write to me in the comment section. I definitely address that. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.